Now I made 22 rows in total, and my poncho measures 17.5 inches from the top right down to the tip, or 45 centimeters. And I'm 5.5, so you make it, you know, the length that you want, if you want it longer or shorter. And from this tip to the outside here, it's also the same measurement. Now for my poncho, I use this Hobbii Tea Time yarn. Now this is a medium 4 weight, but I find it's a little thinner than a 4, and it's a roving, so it goes from thick to thin. It's 100% acrylic. There's 200 grams in a ball, 7.1 ounces, 580 meters, 634 yards. And I used pretty much one whole ball. So it'd be good to have a couple on hand. And this colorway is, it's actually right here. This colorway is 06. Now for the first 3 rows, I used a 5.5 millimeter. Now I have an extra row of single crochets on here that I did at the end. The second single crochet here would be the first row of the poncho. So that's 1, 2, 3. This one right here is a shell row. So the first 3 rows I used a 5.5 millimeter hook, and then from the 4th row on I used a 6 millimeter. Now it doesn't show that in the tutorial because I did the tutorial with a 5.5 and then redid the poncho, but with a 6 millimeter starting in the 4th row. I mentioned that in the video. You'll need the usual suspects. You'll need 4 stitch markers, and that's to mark all your 4 corners. You need a pair of scissors to cut your yarn, and you'll need a darning needle to sew in the ends. I am also currently making one in a 2-weight yarn. I started with 3 rows of single crochets. I'll do another row of single crochets when I've completed the poncho. I did 6 rows with a 4 millimeter hook using the same chain count. Okay, so 6 rows, that's the 3 single crochets, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows with the 4 millimeter, and then I went up to a 4.5 millimeter here, using the same chain count with a 2 weight. Does make the neckline a little smaller, but it is going to stretch out from the weight of the poncho. It wasn't hard to pull over my head, but if you do it in a 2 weight, you can go ahead and start with a 4.5 millimeter and then go up to a 5 later on if you like, if you want more of a drape. This one I'm using is also Hobbii. It's Twister Solid. 55% cotton, 45% acrylic. It's 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, 400 meters, 437 yards. And this colorway is, what's the colorway? It's black. Colorway is 105. Now, I don't know how much of this I'm going to need because I'm just started working on this one. But I will show it in a future video, and I'll link, once I have that video up, I'll link it in the comments of this one. Now we're going to start with the neckline, and we'll be making a chain of 80. So put a slip knot on your hook. We're going to be working in the round. So I'm going to start off with chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pull that last stitch up. I'm going to go into the first stitch with my hook, and then I'm going to go into that stitch we pulled up, and then I'm going to continue making my chains. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for a total of 80 altogether. And this, doing it this way, will keep your chain from twisting. I have my chain of 80. Now I'm going to hold these 2 ends together. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull the yarn through like that. So now we're connected. Our chain is straight, and then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to make a single crochet right into that very first chain right here. You could make a single crochet in there. And then I'm going to make a single crochet in every chain all the way around. And I will end up with 80 single crochets. Okay, I've gone all the way around with single crochets. This last one I made is number 79, so I need one more. And we have this last stitch. There's one more stitch here we need to go into. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this single crochet row is straight. Okay. It is straight. Okay, go in that last one with a single crochet. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet we made, which is right here. This one before it was the chain one. We don't want to go in there. We want to go in the single crochet. So I'm just going to put a slip stitch in there. And there we go. Chain one. So now we're going to make the first corner. There'll be a total of 4 corners. So right here, right under where we did that chain one, we're going to put a double crochet, chain one, double crochet. And that will be our first corner. And that's a V-stitch. Double crochet, chain one, double crochet, all in that same spot. Now I'm going to mark it with a stitch marker. I'm going to mark each of the corners with a stitch marker because our next stitches that we're going to be making are similar. Okay, so now we are going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and go in the next one with a double crochet. Chain 3 and a double crochet in the same stitch. So I'm calling that a chain 3 V-stitch. All right, now we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with a chain 3 V-stitch. So that was a double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet in the same stitch. All right, so now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and do the same thing. Skip 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet. Okay, so we have our first corner, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. We've chained 4, skipped 4, put a chain 3 V-stitch in the next stitch. So that was a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet, chain 4, skip 4 in the next stitch, chain 3 V-stitch, chain 4, skip 4, and then we've made another chain 3 V-stitch. So this is what we're going to be repeating for this row. We're going to make a corner and then these 3 chain 3 V-stitches. Okay, let's do that. So we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next one with our regular V-stitch. This is the second corner. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the same spot. And again, I'm going to mark this next corner we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go in the next one with a chain 3 V-stitch. So again, that was a double crochet, chain 3, and a double crochet in this same spot. Okay, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next one with a chain 3 V-stitch. So double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet in the same spot. Okay, let's do that one more time. We're going to do sets of 3 between each corner. Okay, chain 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go on the next one with a chain 3 V-stitch. Again, that's double crochet, chain 3, and double crochet in the same stitch. So now we have 2 sets of those chain 3 V-stitches, and we have 2 corners. All right, now we're going to make another corner. First we have to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next stitch with a regular V-stitch, a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay, I'm going to mark that. So you continue on with that. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next stitch with a chain 3 V-stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next stitch with a chain 3 V-stitch. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the 5th with a chain 3 V-stitch. Okay, we've made 3 of those chain 3 V-stitches. So we're going to chain 4, skip 4, and then we're going to make another corner, which will be our last corner. Okay, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with our V-stitch, which is a regular V-stitch. That's a double crochet, chain 1 and a double crochet. And we'll mark that one. And then we'll chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with our chain 3 V-stitch. chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go in the next one with a chain 3 V-stitch. Okay, we need one more of those chain 3 V-stitches, so we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in the next one with a chain 3 V-stitch. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You should have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip all 4 of those. And then we're going to slip stitch into that first V-stitch. We're going to go into the double crochet of that first V-stitch. Okay, slip stitch at the top of that double crochet, that first one. And then we're going to slip stitch right into the chain 1. It's in the middle of that V-stitch. And then we're going to chain 1. And I'm going to take the stitch marker out to get it out of my way. Okay, now right in that very first V-stitch, we are going to make a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. Okay, so go right in the center of that V-stitch, make a double crochet, chain 1, and a double crochet. That's a V-stitch, and then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to make another V-stitch in that same spot. So we have a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. So what we have is 2 V-stitches separated by a chain 2, right in the middle of that V-stitch. Okay, now I'm going to just mark the corner. Now we have this chain 4. We're going to put a single crochet around the chain 4. Now we have our chain 3 V-stitch. We're going to put 7 double crochets into that chain 3 V-stitch. Okay, 7 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, now we have a chain 4. We'll put a single crochet around the chain 4. That's what we're always going to do. Single crochet around the chain 4, 7 double crochets into our chain 3 V-stitch. 7 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Something moved on my desk and scared one of my cats. It's okay, babies. Okay, so now we're over to the chain 4. We'll put a single crochet around it. And then we're to the chain 3 V-stitch. Put 7 double crochets in there. Okay, now we're at a chain 4, so we'll put a single crochet around the chain 4. All right, so the next stitch we're going to work in is this regular V-stitch. So we're going to do what we did in the other one. We're going to put a double crochet, a chain 1 and a double crochet. That's 1 V-stitch. We're going to chain 2, and then we're going to put another V-stitch in that V-stitch from the previous row. Okay, so we have a V-stitch, a chain 2, and a V-stitch all in that, all in that V-stitch. You can move your stitch marker up to the chain 2 if you like. All right, so now we have a chain 4. What do we do around chain 4? We make a single crochet. And then we have a chain 3 V-stitch, so we'll put 7 double crochets in there. So what we've done here is we're just going to keep repeating for this row. That was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 double crochets. See, this is why I like to mark these corners, because they look similar to this stitch. To me, they do. How about you? Okay, we have a chain 4, so we're going to put a single crochet around the chain 4. And then we have a chain 3 V-stitch, put 7 double crochets in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, next thing we have is a chain 4, put a single crochet around the chain 4. And then next we have a chain 3 V-stitch, put your 7 double crochets in there. Okay, that was 7 double crochets. And then we have a chain 4, so we'll put a single crochet around the chain 4. And then we have our V-stitch, our corner. So we'll make a V-stitch. A chain 2 and a V-stitch. Okay, continue doing that until you get to your last chain 4. Okay, I'm at the end of the row. We just have the chain 4 left here. I'm going to put a single crochet around that chain 4 as per usual. For the first 3 rows, I used a 5.5mm hook. I redid the poncho using a 6mm hook in the 4th row right to the very end of the poncho. And then we have our corner, so I'm going to put a slip stitch in the first double crochet of that first V-stitch. And I'm going to slip stitch into this chain 1 of that V-stitch. And then I'm going to chain 1. And now I'm going to put a V-stitch in the V-stitch. So every time you see a V-stitch, you'll be putting a V-stitch. There's just these, these regular V-stitches. And then we have our chain 2 in the middle. So we're going to put a V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch. Okay, that's 1 V-stitch, chain 2, and do the other V-stitch in the same chain 2 space. Okay, then we have another V-stitch right here. We'll put a V-stitch in there. Okay, so this row that we're doing now and the next row are pretty much our 2 row repeats. Now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. we're going to go over to our shell and we're going to count 4 stitches in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in that 4th one, we're going to make a chain 3 V-stitch. Okay, then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Going to go over to our fan. We're going to count 4 stitches in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in that 4th one with a chain 3 V-stitch. Okay, now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to our next shell. Count 4 stitches in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go on the 4th one with our chain 3 V-stitch. Okay, so now we have a corner, our first corner, and then we have the 3 chain 3 V-stitches. All right, so we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're up to our corner. So our first V-stitch is right here. We'll put a V-stitch in there. Just a regular V-stitch. Go into our chain 2 space and put a V-stitch, chain 2 V-stitch. Okay, and then we have the next V-stitch. We'll put a V-stitch. All right, so now we're going to repeat what we just did here. Okay, so we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go into the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th stitch of that shell. And then we'll put our chain 3 V-stitch in there. Okay, and then we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go over to our next shell and count over 1, 2, 3, 4. So go in that 4th one with a double crochet, chain 3 double crochet. So just our chain 3 V-stitch. All right, then we chain 4. Go over to the next shell, count 4 over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go in that 4th one with our chain 3 V-stitch. All right, then chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we'll go to our corner. We'll put a V-stitch in the first V-stitch. Now, if you see this here, that's not a V-stitch right here, because this is our chain 4 from the previous row. So our V-stitch is right here. Okay, so put a V-stitch in there. Go into that chain 2 and make a V-stitch, chain 2 V-stitch. Okay, like that, and then we go into the next V-stitch and make a V-stitch. Okay, so that's our corner. We've made 2 in this row so far. And then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go to our next shell and count over 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. And put our chain 3 V-stitch in that 4th one. So that's what we're repeating all the way to the end of this row. Okay, chain 4. Go to our next shell, count 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put our chain 3 V-stitch in that 4th one. And chain 4, put your chain 3 V-stitch in the 4th stitch of our shell, and continue doing that all the way to the end of this row, and I will see you there. Now I'm coming up to the end of the first row of the 2-row repeat. I've done my chain 3 V-stitch, and now I'll chain 4. Now I'm going to slip stitch into this double crochet of our first V-stitch of our corner. Okay, and then I'm going to slip stitch in the chain 1 of that V-stitch. Now the reason we slip stitch into the chain 1 right into it is it prevents a line. Sometimes you get a line going down your item, prevents that. Okay, chain 1, and then we'll put a V-stitch in that V-stitch. A V-stitch in the next V-stitch. Now we're up to the chain 2, so we'll put a V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch. Okay, now we'll go to the next V-stitch and put a V-stitch in there. And then we have one more V-stitch here. We'll put a V-stitch. Okay, so that's our first corner for the second row of the 2-row repeat. Okay, and then we have a chain 4. So we'll put a single crochet around the chain 4. Then we're going to go into this chain 3 V-stitch and put our 7 double crochets. Okay, then we have a chain 4. We'll put a single crochet around the chain 4. And then we're over to our chain 3 V-stitch. Put 7 double crochets in there. Okay, then we have our next chain 4. We put a single crochet around it. And then we have our next chain 3 V-stitch. Put our 7 double crochets in there. Okay, now we have a chain 4, put a single crochet around it. And now we're at our corner. So we'll put a V-stitch in the first V-stitch. V-stitch in the next V-stitch. Now we're up to the chain 2, put a V-stitch, chain 2, V-stitch. We're at the next V-stitch, put a V-stitch in there. And then we're at the next V-stitch, put a V-stitch in there. Okay. Now we're up to a chain 4, put a single crochet around the chain 4. And then we're up to the chain 3 V-stitch, put 7 double crochets in there. So just to keep repeating this all the way to the end of this row, and I will see you there. And this is the second row of the 2-row repeat, and I'll help you get started on the next row, which is the first row of the 2-row repeat. How many did I do? 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, single crochet around the chain 4. Okay, I'll see you at the end of this row. All right, I'm at the end of the second row of the 2-row repeat, and I have that chain 4 left after my shell, and I'm going to put single crochet around it like always. Okay, now we have our corner. So in that first V-stitch, the first double crochet of our first V-stitch, we'll slip stitch into the top of it, and then we'll slip stitch into the chain 1 right into the stitch like we've been doing all along. Okay, then we'll chain 1, and then in the V-stitch we'll put a V-stitch. So just getting you started on this row. Okay, and a V-stitch in the next V-stitch. Oh, that's a pretty color. All right, and V-stitch in the next one. Then we're at the chain 2 space, so we'll put a V-stitch, chain 2, and a V-stitch. Just like we've been doing all along. All right, next V-stitch, put a V-stitch. And next V-stitch, put a V-stitch. Next V-stitch, put a V-stitch. Okay, so now we'll just chain our 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count over 4 in our shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, and put our chain 3 V-stitch right in there, in that 4th one. Okay, then we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go over to our center stitch of our next shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, and put our chain 3 V-stitch in there. And chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go over to our next shell. Count 4 in. put our chain 3 V-stitch in there, chain 4, and then we'll put our V-stitches in the V-stitches. And then 2 V-stitches separated by a chain 2 into the chain 2 space. And so continue repeating these rows. All right, so this was the first row of the 2-row repeat, and then your shell row is the second row of the 2-row repeat. So keep repeating, and I'll come back and tell you how many rows I made. I've made a total of 21 rows from top to tip, and now we're going to make this single crochet row around the neckline. I'm up at the neckline. I'm just going to put a row of single crochets around the neckline. I'm going back to the 5.5 millimeter hook for this row. So I'm putting, let's see, I'm going to go in where we started here, so I can just go right over top of my tail. Okay, I'm just going to chain 1. Going to go back in that same stitch. Going to grab my tail from earlier on and tail that I have right now, so the 2 tails, and just go right over top of them so I don't have to sew them in later. Okay. Go on the next chain, go over those tails. We can mark that first single crochet if we want, so we can spot it quickly on the way back around. All right, so just do a single crochet in each chain all the way around. This is our starting chain we're going into. I'm trying to get under both loops. There we go, right there. All right. Okay, so I'll see you at the end of this row. All right, I've gone all the way around my neckline with this row of single crochets. And I'm just going to slip stitch into that first single crochet we made. And just chain 1 and then cut your yarn. And I went over that other tail there, so I'm just going to cut the tip of it off. Oh, there's the tip of the other one. And then we just have this last one to weave in. I'm going to go right beside it and pull it through out the back. And then just grab some loops here. Pull it through. Then I like to go back on itself and then come back on itself a third time usually. Okay, I'm not going back into the one I just came out of because then my work might undo. All right, something like that. Okay, and we are finished our poncho. And thank you everyone. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please subscribe, like, share, comment, and there are some more tutorials linked at the end of this video and in the description box if you'd like to check those out too. All right, thanks everyone. Bye for now.